Can you legally get away with stealing? Exploring bizarre legal loopholes where theft technically isn't a crime. Stealing. It's one of the oldest crimes in the book. From Robin Hood's legendary heist to modern-day bank robberies, taking what isn't yours has always come with a price. Or has it? Today, we're diving into a strange question. Can you legally get away with stealing? We're about to uncover bizarre legal loopholes, strange court rulings, and gray areas in the law that might just let you walk away with the goods. No cuffs, no courtrooms, and no consequences. Stick around because this is about to get wild. Before we get into the loopholes, let's set the stage. Legally speaking, theft is when you take something that isn't yours with the intent to permanently deprive the owner of it. Simple, right? But here's the thing. Laws are all about specifics. And sometimes those specifics leave gaps big enough for someone to slip right through. So let's explore some of the most mind-bending examples of how people have legally gotten away with what looks a lot like stealing. First up, abandoned property. If someone leaves something behind with no intention of coming back for it, that's considered abandoned, and it's fair game. In many states, if you find something that's been discarded or left behind, you can legally claim it as your own. This is how some urban treasure hunters score everything from furniture to electronics without a dollar changing hands. For instance, the freegan movement thrives on this. Freegans are people who reclaim and eat discarded food from dumpsters, arguing that once food is thrown away, it's abandoned property. While it sounds sketchy, it's often perfectly legal. But the line between lost and abandoned can get blurry. If you find a bike leaning against a wall, is it abandoned or just momentarily unattended? Courts have debated this, and it usually boils down to intent. In one case in New York, a man was charged with theft for taking a seemingly abandoned bike, only for the charges to be dropped when the owner admitted he had left it for someone else to pick up. Then there's the case of beachcombing laws in certain coastal areas where anything washed ashore, including cargo from shipwrecks, can be claimed if it's not retrieved by the owner within a set time. For example, if someone leaves a car on the street for too long, local laws might allow you to claim it. Speaking of which, let's talk about adverse possession, also known as squatters' rights. This is one of the strangest legal loopholes out there. Here's how it works. If you openly live on someone else's property without permission, maintain it, and pay taxes for a certain number of years, anywhere from 5 to 30, depending on the state, you can actually claim legal ownership. Take the case of a man in Texas who, in 2010, used adverse possession to claim a $300,000 home by paying a $16 filing fee and living there for 3 years. He even put up a sign in the yard declaring his intent to take ownership. The actual homeowners had abandoned the house during foreclosure proceedings and no one stopped in. And it's not just homes. This loophole has been used to claim vacant lots, farmlands, and even commercial properties. In one case in London, a group of squatters legally claimed a multi-million-dollar mansion by living there openly for years without the owners filing charges. Even large corporations aren't immune. There have been cases of rival companies occupying unused commercial spaces to claim ownership. The key here is the possession must be open, notorious, and continuous. Basically, you have to be obvious about your trespassing. If the rightful owner doesn't kick you out in time, the house could be yours, no mortgage required. So yes, you can technically steal a house legally. We've all heard the phrase finders keepers, but is it actually true? Well, kind of. If you find something valuable in a public place, the law usually requires you to try to return it to the owner or hand it over to the police. But if the owner doesn't claim it within a certain period, it might legally become yours. One famous example is the case of a janitor in France who found a briefcase containing 500,000 euros in cash. After handing it over to the police and waiting the legally required time period without anyone claiming it, the money was his to keep, no questions asked. And here's a wild twist. Some states even allow you to keep meteorites that land on your property, considering them a gift from the heavens. For example, in 2018, a Michigan man sold a meteorite that had been used as a doorstop for decades, cashing in for $100,000 completely legally. Meanwhile, in other places, any historical or natural items found must be reported to the government or a local authority. So next time you spot a $20 bill on the sidewalk, remember, location is everything. Now, here's one for the books. Did you know that, in a way, the IRS allows thieves to keep their loot as long as they pay taxes on it? That's right. According to the IRS tax code, you're supposed to record income from illegal activities, including theft. As bizarre as it sounds, if a thief reports their stolen income and pays taxes on it, they're technically in the clear, or at least with the IRS. Of course, this doesn't protect them from criminal prosecution, but it does raise a fascinating question. If you pay taxes on stolen money, are you really a thief or just an honest criminal? Here's a loophole that might surprise you. In some places, claiming that you simply forgot to pay can actually be a valid defense. For minor shoplifting cases, showing that you had no intent to permanently deprive the store of the goods, like if you got distracted or genuinely forgot, can sometimes get charges dropped. Of course, pulling this off depends a lot on the circumstances and how convincing you are. Ever wanted to be a pirate? Maritime law might be your best bet. No eye patch required. Under salvage rights, if you find an abandoned ship or cargo at sea and recover it, you can legally reclaim a reward or even ownership if the owners don't show up. It's one of the oldest legal loopholes around, turning treasure hunting into a surprisingly legitimate business. One famous case involves the discovery of the Spanish ship, and I'm going to butcher this, Nuestra Señora de las Mercedes, which sank off the coast of Portugal in 1804, carrying $500 million worth of gold and silver. The treasure hunters who found it claimed salvage rights, but Spain took them to court and won, arguing that the ship was a military vessel protected by sovereign immunity. For the treasure hunters, it was a harsh lesson that even buried treasure can come with legal strings attached. But in less contested waters, this loophole can lead to serious paydays. In fact, it's estimated that thousands of shipwrecks, some worth millions, are still waiting to be discovered on the ocean floor, and each one potential fortune for anyone lucky enough to find it and savvy enough to navigate the maze of maritime law. Finally, let's talk about a loophole that turns the tables: entrapment. If law enforcement pushes you to commit a crime that you wouldn't have otherwise committed, you might walk free, even if you did steal something. The key is proving that the idea originated with the police and not with you. In the 1990s, a series of car thefts in California were thrown out of court because the police had set up bait cars and aggressively encouraged suspects to take them. The judge ruled it was entrapment, and the thieves walked free. So you can legally get away with stealing? Technically, yes, but only in the strangest of circumstances. From abandoned properties to salvage rights at sea, these legal loopholes just show you how complicated and sometimes downright absurd the law can be. But before you start plotting your next heist, remember, most of these loopholes come with risks that far outweigh the rewards. Even if you manage to stay on the right side of the law, navigating the fine print can quickly turn into a legal nightmare. It's a reminder that while the law might have its quirks, it's usually better to stay on the safe side. If you've enjoyed this dive into the weird world of legal loopholes, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more mind-bending content from Hammer's Law. I'm Darryl Isaacs, and we've got plenty more strange, surprising, and downright unbelievable legal stories coming your way. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep it legal and maybe double check that fine print before you start treasure hunting.